And yet let's look at the way he describes himself. He says, Paul, a bond servant. He says, you want to know who I am? I am a bond servant. It's from the Greek word doulos. It means slave. I am a slave. Now let's just stop here for a moment. If someone were to ask you, in a play on words, to choose one word to identify yourself, would this be the first word, the prominent word that popped into your mind? A slave. Would it? Do I need to go any farther? Do I need to ask you any more questions? Do I need to say another word? If you were to only grasp, if I were to only grasp what I just asked, we would find so much healing and so much growth and so much power in the Christian life. You see, the thing that first pops into your mind is probably the one thing you think most about yourself and that controls you. Well, I'm this or I'm that. I have this title or that title. And none of those things ultimately bring joy. None of those things ultimately bring pleasure. They may bring prestige, the respect of men, and so many other things, but they'll bring nothing from God. Remember, those things which are highly esteemed by men are often despised by God. My question to you, if someone were to say, who are you? The first word that popped into your mind and out your mouth, would it be, I am a slave? Now, I've written a few definitions down about a slave. First of all, it's one who completely belongs to his owner and whose entire life is shaped by the will of his master. Now, let's stop again. I know this is simple. It may seem trite. There'll be no reward for this. But just think about these simple words. Would you describe yourself as someone who completely, totally belonged to someone else and whose life was completely and totally shaped by the will of a master? Now you understand. You could spend years here, couldn't you? Absolutely years here. Who are you, Paul Washer? Oh, I'm a preacher. I'm a director. I'm this. I'm that. All of it's worthless. Titles of men. The first thing that ought to pop into my mind, I am a slave. Wholly and completely, I belong to another, not myself. I have been bought with a price, and my entire life is shaped by the will of the one who bought me.